Hi, everybody, and welcome to this exclusive webinar with Marion School District. I'm Corey Bowers, the Marketing and Branding Manager, and so welcome. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our attendees who have taken time out of their day to join us. For those of you who may not know who Mascot Media is, we provide high-quality products from event ticketing, to posters, apps, websites, broadcasting, and more. And we've been doing that for over 2 decades. And something at the core of our company is that no matter how small or large your school district or your organization is, we're going to make sure that you're taken care of and that the products you have are tailored to your needs. And we're happy to give schools and organizations the power to take control of their brand and content. And we're going to hear just about how Marion did just that with our app and website. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that we have enabled the Q&A feature of the webinar. So if you have any questions at any point, just pop them in there and we'll make sure to answer them at the end. You'll also see right beside your Q&A feature that we have enabled the chat. And here I will be dropping important links for you to reference as we go along. After Marion has told us about how they've built their sports network, we will be doing a live demo of our products, so make sure to stay tuned. And now for the fun part, it's time for me to introduce our panelists today. Joining us is Athletics Media Specialist and faculty member Landon West, Communications Specialist Tyler Bennett, and former student member of the Marion Patriots Athletic Network, Mary Claire Reese. Thanks for joining us today, guys. And last but surely not least is sales engineer and Texas broadcast manager, Lev Willie, who will be taking the lead today. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to hand off to Lev to get us started. Lev?
Thanks, Corey. Good morning, everyone, and thank you to the panelists. Today, we are super excited to have this, and not just because, we're highlighting one of the many, sports networks across the country, but one of the ones that's really close to our heart, and the fact that this really started at the beginning. Myself and another fellow coworker of mine, Blair Cartwright, visiting this area, at Marion High School, seeing how much they support extracurricular activities in broadcasting in particular, and really took this and ran with it to the next level. And so today, highlighting all those different pieces of that at the student level, the administrator level, and showcasing the great things they've done. We're really excited to get started with this. And, I think that all starts with hitting on, the background and talking about the app and the website service. So Landon, starting with you here and just, going through, each of you with the app and the website service, how do you feel like that has changed the game for Marion, the sports network, and broadcasting in general?
The app and website are nothing short of professional. And when we think of sports or athletics in the professional ranks, we're talking about people who are being paid to play or participate, NFL, MLB. But we have this tool now that looks just as good as anything that the professional ranks of any sport can put out. Mascot Media very simply said, give us your information, give us your schedules, give us your rosters, and we will input that, and we will make it appear as professional as we are capable, and they have proven more than capable of making things that will happen all day. They are more than capable of making things that are, one, pleasing to the eye, but two, pleasing to the consumer for a variety of reasons. And so I think that their ability to take individual schools' information and package it into something that is completely professionally made and pleasing is bar none the greatest asset that they can offer to any level of size of school.
Tyler, any feedback with that?
I mean, you can see it on the screen there. This is the website and the app. Everything is definitely more than anything that we were capable of pulling off on our own. As Landon was touching on the professionalism of it, it really adds to the validity of the product that you're putting out. I've been thoroughly impressed with everything as far as what Mascot Media has provided for us. They've made it super easy for anybody to just kind of plug and play with making their website truly theirs while still maintaining that level of professionalism that a service like this could only provide.
And it's not short to say, this isn't, something that's overly complicated, but also part of that a lot of schools struggle with is the branding aspect. And that's something that, Marion in general did a great job of, and something that a lot of schools have questions on. And so Landon, I turn it back to you, with the app and the website service, creating that Patriots brand. When we first came over, getting this started with the equipment, getting the app and the website up and rolling, and being the solid, great administration that y'all are, do you feel like this was an important step to take in order to take that next step in y'all's journey to create this Marion Patriot Network?
Sure. Branding is one of those things that says we care. I think that schools have kind of gotten over the hump of realizing that first impressions matter. And one of the things that we did was we sat down and said, okay, what can our first impression be? And so we created logos, we created consistency. One of the first things we did was sit down and have a meeting and said, okay, what are the school colors? Well, that should be an easy answer for anybody. They're going to say red, white, and blue for the Marion Patriots, right? Well, you have no idea how many types of red there are, how many types of blue there are, and turns out how many types of white there are. So we sat down, and our superintendent, our new one at the time, he's been with us ever since. And we said, well, what are our colors? And he said, well, shouldn't they be the American flag? Absolutely. That's the correct answer. So we created consistency by saying that's what it's going to be. I think other schools can do the same thing by just figuring out, okay, so this is our mascot. What colors, what items, what do people also kind of associate with our mascot? And then decide, okay, this is it. It doesn't even hurt. Tyler can probably tell you our hex codes by memory.
All 4 of them.
So it doesn't even hurt to go that far to figure out, okay, what are the codes for these colors? So once we had all that figured out, it was time to say, okay, we're ready for the world. We're ready to make that next step. And that's where Mascot Media comes along and says, okay, we've seen what you've created. We see the ideas that are churning in your head. Here's how we can add. And what they were able to add was, again, this professional website, but also later on the application and so much more. The tickets, even the tickets look incredible. And so what they added was just setting into motion what was churning in our heads, but we weren't quite capable of doing without some help of people who had already been there. And so that was a tremendous asset when we were able to bring Mascot Media on to just lift up our ideas, what we had created. And now it's just this great relationship between the two of us.
And you hit on it ever so slightly, and Tyler and Lane, if y'all want to join up on this, speaking on the before and after from this transition. Before Mascot Media came in and interact on this new digital front, what did it look like in terms of a Marion Patriots network before that transition, and now to where it is after?
So, in terms of streaming, the way we did it before was, I just had this Mevo camera, and anybody could still use this. And it was great. It worked. But, all we were doing was sending it to Facebook. And that creates its own problems. There's no way to cut out the noise of people talking. And, you get a rival school in your comments, who knows what's going to happen. But once we got with Mascot Media and they said, okay, here's your own page for streaming that you control. That was a tremendous gain for us because we were able to control the environment and make our brand, our message, something that you could dive into, something that you could surround yourself with on a consistent basis, rather than leaving it to the masses on Facebook. So I think that that transition for us of getting on board just meant that everything was going to be in control, consistent, and a higher quality.
Tyler, I'll let you hit this. One thing that in my case, when we talk about different schools is when people graduate, we're going to get the student perspective here in a moment as well, is, when people graduate, they look at the logo, they look at the colors, and it means something to them whenever they come into the first day in the high school doors. For you and the community, and for everyone in this room, what does it mean to have the Marion Patriots brand, and what do you feel that represents to the school and to the community?
I think it's a good representation of the community. It's something that for people on the outside looking in, their only experience with Marion may be that they had a kid that played for insert football team here, and they played Marion a couple times. So they remember that logo whenever they think of Marion. That's something that'll stick with them. And we want it to be a positive one. We want something that's consistent. Before we had the current logo that we have, there were about 3 or 4 different ones that you could say were the logo. There was just an M with script Patriots across it. There were 3 guys with one had like a drum, one had a flag. It was pretty inconsistent. It was all over the place, but I really like where we are now. We're at a point now where people from all over the state, they see the M, they see the flying Elvis over the top of it, they know that's Marion. That's something that you can instantly hook on to. That's something that you can instantly just validate like where your spot is. And I think for the community aspect of it, it's something that they can rally behind. Like everybody likes symbols that they can get behind. I think that we've created one where anybody in the community can stick this in front of their business or their home and let everybody know that what they're supporting, and everybody that sees it will know exactly what that means. So from a branding perspective, I think that it has been huge, and to take that branding that we've worked hard to establish and build and put it onto something as professional as what Mascot Media has given us with this app and this website, that just knocks it up to the next level. It's been pretty stellar, and the community is definitely hooking on to it.
And Landon, you have plenty of Marion Patriots logos and
Enough
stuff in the background. So I'll let you hit on this too, because I know it's important for all 3 of you. What does it mean to you as well, and what do you feel like it represents?
Well, I actually was the one who got to create that logo well before we were going with Mascot Media. My mom was the inheritor. She also works here. She kind of inherited maintaining the athletics website, or what we had back then. And she said, I just need a new logo. I need something clean and good. So after, a weekend of thinking about it, that's what I came up with. And sure enough, it started popping up. And then when I got our new superintendent, Dr. Glenn Finner, he liked it so much. His first order of business as superintendent at the first school board meeting was to make that the official logo of the Marion School District. No other ones can be used. Now you can reconfigure the colors, obviously. And we even have some guidelines for that. But to me, it's very much a source of pride, because I've lived in Marion for 28 years, and to know that I've left my mark personally is very, very great and satisfying. And sometimes I even tear up about it, because I love this place so much. But for everyone else's perspective, when I hear at state tournaments or whatever, man, y'all are clean. That's the word right now that a lot of people like to use. That we look good, that our website is great, that our broadcasts look incredible. I'm very, very flattered by that, and very humbled by it, because we're just doing the best that we can. It's having the support of our administration to make these things happen, and to have the high tide, as I call it, that is Mascot Media, their ability to raise everything up that we're doing. I'm beyond proud of what that stands for, because ultimately it stands for a lot of different people working together to create an incredible school and school district.
And I'm interested too, Mary Claire, for those that we haven't formally on my piece included as of yet, Mary Claire, I'm really interested in the student perspective on this as well. For you, now being a graduate, being in the community still to this point, what does it mean for you whenever you tune into a broadcast, see the logo maybe around in public? What does it mean for you in that student perspective before you graduated and now after as well?
Well, coming into working with Tyler and Landon, I was a senior in high school, and I was able to do the fall semester before spring, especially whenever the pandemic hit. Everything kind of went sideways. So being able to be part of this group for that semester of my high school, that I was there completely into my first semester of college, I still work with these guys. They're very much a family to me, and especially I'm very thankful to Mascot Media for being able to provide this to me through them. But being able to see their success and their growth over time, and knowing that I had a hand in some way of being able to help grow that in a sense, especially having people coming up next year, especially since they are going to have the availability to have new students come up next year, and being able to help them out with that, and just seeing the way that their student outreach has grown through using students in their broadcast, and also their involvement with the students. I know Tyler and Landon after games will sit and talk to athletes, and just the sense of community that creates in and of itself is astounding.
Well, and that's a great perspective. And I think that transitions back to the features that people use. And Atlanta, I'm going to take it back to you here in terms of the app and the website and the features y'all use on a day-to-day basis. Are there specific features of the sports network that help with that brand identity and trying to solidify that?
Sure. The sports network that we've created, we could put that anywhere. And Tyler's been very, very much a keen observer of what the trends are for that. So I think that we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to figure out how does the wheel roll for us. And so I think when we look to people who, obviously have gone a step ahead of us in the college ranks or professional ranks, they have to take steps too. And we just try to figure out and nail down what those steps are. And can we, emulate them? Again, a lot of this is not, reinventing the wheel. It's figuring out how can the wheel roll for you. So the ability just to have a sports network to get something going was tremendous, but also, it's a little bit of a blank slate, and we were able to paint it how it was best suited for us.
Now, Tyler, in your perspective, seeing, the different features on the user side, but also the administrative side, what features do you think help the school to engage more with the Marion Patriot Network on all levels?
Well, with the app, I know I've liked the ability to have the push notifications, just to be able to send out things that we think are going to be important to people. It's been pretty easy to use, mostly when you're on the actual, not the mobile, but the desktop version of it. That's when it's at its most accessible. Fairly easy to use. It took us a couple tries to make sure we didn't send out the same thing more than once, but the push notifications have been pretty solid, especially with spring sports with COVID now behind us. We had some staggered start times. We had some different things. Games get changed all kinds of different ways. So to be able to have an ability to send out that message to the people that we know are going to want to see it the most, I thought has been a pretty killer feature of the app.
I just demonstrated it to myself. Even on a mobile phone, I can send out a push notification in about 20 seconds. It's that easy. So the user interface is great on it.
Well, speaking of that, all those things help benefit the community and getting them involved and trying to interact with them in all phases of it, whether it's athletics, academics, whatever it may be. And so with that, how did the community react to the app and the website property?
Uh, the if you include the broadcasting on that, that was a tremendous asset to them, as much as it was to us, because we gave them a place where they were able to say, guess what? We support our school. And that is completely valuable. It has value in every facet of being a student, a faculty member, an administrator, knowing that you can go shop somewhere or eat somewhere and that place supports you just because you fly the M. That is incredible. Once we got things rolling, what we actually did was we had a few Patriot partners, as we call them. It's like a community business-based model. We had a few who basically they had children who competed or went to school here and they just wanted to support. And that was great. So what we did was when we started with Mascot Media, we started creating the commercials. We just gave them a commercial for the remainder of whatever that year was. And that was kind of to get the ball rolling to see if anybody else wanted to get in on it. Our revenue from the test session to the first full year with Mascot Media doubled. The next year it quadrupled from that second year. And this past year, the number of partners that we have has gone up, but the revenue stayed steady because we offered a discount to businesses because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so the interest has always been there once we gave them a place where their brand could be associated with our brand. And that kind of partnership, I've been told many, many times going to locations and filming or whatever, that's all that they're looking for, is for a place where people can see their brand next to our brand. And that is just has some intrinsic value. I used to work at, I kind of get it because I used to work at Disney World in college, and the amount that Disney World pays for Coca-Cola products is nothing because Coke wants to be associated with Walt Disney World. Well, our partners want to be associated with Marion School District, so much so that they jump on very, very quickly. And then we do the absolute best that we can to maintain a good relationship with them, to meet their needs, and to make sure that the message that they're sending out to the community through us is accurate and paints everyone in the best picture possible.
And Tyler, transitioning to you on this, Mary Claire hit on the fact that you and Landon are so interactive with the community and talking with the players after the games and things like that. How do you see their involvement, not even at the sponsor level? I mean, clearly, for our attendees, you can see the great work that the Marion Patriot Network has done in terms of those partners that are engaged with it. I mean, I see it just from the great highlights and things of that nature. But how do you see it in your perspective, the community getting involved, tuning in the broadcast, and just commenting on the network in general?
A lot of these places, like Landon was mentioning, they have kids that either just are straight up athletes or at the very least just students here at Marion. So it's one of those things like, hey, I got to see my dad's company on the live stream or something just as basic as that. A lot of these places too, some of these restaurants and other businesses, they have TVs in their waiting rooms inside the restaurants. And we've gotten pictures from them before of them watching streams in the middle of the restaurants, in the middle of these waiting rooms and things like that. So it's another opportunity for them to get involved in the community, to help out with the schools. And like Landon said, I'm going to quote him here, all ships rise with a high tide. It's one of those things where they want to be associated with this, and hopefully we put out a good enough product for them to want to put their names next to ours. It's been very encouraging to see the amount of support that we've had from the community.
Well, it's nothing short to say it's an incredible product. I mean, being featured in ESPN's top 10 with the highlights of your student athletes is something that's really great to see, even at my perspective, and I'm sure for everyone that has seen it throughout y'all's journey. But Landon, I'm going to transition back to you on this part. You touched on it with the interaction with the community support, but how have you seen it from that day one of this to now, that community support increasing throughout this entire process?
when you go somewhere and they ask you, how do we get involved? For example, my house was remodeled recently. That contractor had no problem saying, "Hey, I would love to be a Patriot partner. I've watched. I've gotten to see the broadcasts and the website. And how do I get involved?" It's just a pull. I think that if you can create like a gravity that is attractive to people around your brand, you're going to pull those people too. I think some people also wonder, how do you find the businesses that are going to support you? Well, what we do is we actually have, and I think most schools have something along those lines, we have a foundation. And those foundation members, basically what they do is we offer our services and our advertisement to the community in packages. And these packages range from $500, $2,000, and you pick which one is right for you. And based on what you pick, you get certain perks. Some of those perks go beyond the realms and the reach of Mascot Media. And we have other people that we work with on that. But I would probably say 75, 80% of our Patriot partners say, I want to, it's about the broadcast. And so we're happy to accommodate all people who come to us and say that. So a lot of times they'll come to us, but I will say it is also very important that you have somebody in your school district's realm, ours being the foundation members, who take time to visit these businesses and say, here's what we're offering. Here's what this package can get you. Here's what this package can get you. Are you interested? And then also be very flexible with them. We don't require upfront payment. We don't require payment all in one installment. You have to show great flexibility to these businesses because they don't have state funding. They go through ebbs and flows, and a lot of them lately have been on a downturn because of the pandemic. But with things opening back up, we're excited to get back out there and see how can we further our relationship with them. So I think that it's important to build those relationships, to have somebody. Don't make it just a phone call. You can do that, but I think that it's very important to have a handshake pre-COVID and to have someone smiling with you and meeting their needs face to face so that they can have an avenue of showing their support for your school.
Well, Tyler, hitting with you on this, I think, everyone talks about the great, from what I've heard, and I'm sure others in our office and around the country can attest to, is the great product y'all put, through the cameras onto the app and the website and streaming it out. So in the parents, staff, the people that are loyal to Marion and support you, what is the reaction to those broadcasts and what y'all have done throughout this entire journey?
Well, it's kind of become a problem now. We usually only stream the road games because we want people to actually come to the home games. Due to COVID limitations, we had to stream everything, and we've gotten to the point now where I've got several coaches and other supporters of different teams that are saying, we were planning on going to the basketball games since attendance opened up, but y'all are putting out an ESPN level broadcast, so we might as well just stay home and watch it with everybody else. It's been one of those things. I think we've gotten too good for our own good, that kind of thing. We need people to actually come to the games, but it's one of those things where I feel like anywhere that we go, I'm confident that we're going to put out a pretty solid product. Everything that has been given to us and that we have found along the way has just been tools to help make each broadcast better than the next, in my opinion. I still don't think we've put out a perfect beginning to end broadcast just yet, but it is my goal to make this broadcast that we are doing better than the next one. If it's just one little thing, that's my goal. Just even if it's just one specific detail, we've got to keep getting better than this. I'm still not 100% satisfied with where we're at, and I probably never will be, but just got to have something that you're shooting for. And right now, the thing that I've been shooting for with COVID has been, I want to keep numbers consistent. I want to keep people coming back to this product. And I feel like we've done that with everything that Mascot Media has granted to us and everything that we've learned along the way.
Well, I'll say I think the chase to perfection is just a testament to the great product that y'all put in and out. And that is something that I think a lot of schools strive for. And that's one of the first, things you want to have in your back pocket is chasing that. But, one thing is a lot of schools will, try to downplay, student broadcasting. They're not professionals, but y'all sit there and include the students, get them interacting on the sports network and deliver a professional level, broadcast. So Lan, I'm going to transition to you with this in terms of the involvement with students. How does that look, getting students involved with each of these broadcasts that so many people feel like are just high quality professional broadcasts?
Right. When we started this, obviously we did not have students because we didn't know where to fit them in, but it was fairly easy to figure that out once we kind of sat down and said, okay, where are our talents and what are our abilities and where are we being spread too thin? And that, that came to a good conclusion that we need camera people, and camera work is a good skill to have. It's always in need, and it's fairly easy to learn if you facilitate it. I'm sure that we've seen examples of, just let's set up the cameras and then the sponsor leaves or just lets the kids do whatever they want to do and put out a broadcast and then it's over and that's fine. That may work for some. But what we wanted to do was to also involve students and give them a new skill. And in order to make a new skill or learn one, you have to refine, you have to learn. So at the suggestion of a colleague, I found a book that is bluntly titled, How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck. Okay, cool, they both have them, mine's over there. And we use that book to kind of refine and to learn and to, it would basically be a textbook if this actually were a course. It's not a course for us yet. What we do is we actually go find student volunteers from the National Honor Society. They earn volunteer credit hours with us. And the fact that you can earn credit by attending a football game that you wanted to go to already, or a basketball game or whatever, a kid is pretty eager to jump on board with that. And so what we do is we bring them on, we'll take them out to practice, and then let them learn camera work. We will also go ahead and try to allow students into other facets such as running scoreboard. If we're on the road, we have to do it manually right now, or we will try and let them do some other things as that particular facility dictates that we need to do. So basically, it's just we want to teach a new skill, and as Mary Claire will hopefully attest to, it's a transferable skill, and it's one that the college level is very, very intrigued with.
And thanks, Lan. And what you were saying there, we are really excited to have the student perspective on this, and having Mary Claire on. This is something that is special to me too, being someone that was a broadcast student throughout my college time and going to the professional workspace, seeing a product of a great athletic network like Marion. Mary Claire, thank you for joining us. I really want to ask and start with first, what all did you do in a day-to-day basis, at the Marion Patriot Athletic Network?
Yeah, for sure. So depending on what season it was, especially like during the fall, we would mainly just have football games. So Fridays, occasionally I would have to like leave classes early, but that was something that teachers were always very understanding of, especially with being used to athletes kind of leaving. So I was never really pulled from anything that I wouldn't be able to make up. It was always something that teachers were understanding of. So I wasn't missing school like a lot of people thought I was, just for fun. So we would travel to these games wherever they were. If there was a home game, then I would just come back to the school. I would get there about an hour and a half early. We would all set up as a crew and we would start our broadcast. Afterwards, we would just tear down, transport everything back to the school as a group. That could sometimes take anywhere between 20 minutes or an hour. We've had times where things are a lot harder to pack up just due to like how spaced out everything had to be or set up, and trying to get access to electricity or a Wi-Fi hotspot sometimes is hard. So it took things a little bit longer, but we always found a way to adapt, and it was always a team effort. It was always very interesting to watch. But whenever it was time for like baseball, softball, basketball season kind of rolled around, things got a little bit more crazy and hectic. So it was always just being on your toes and being able to do things. It was always about communication and what all was going on. So we need you this day, but we don't need you this day, but we need you here. But really it was just them being able to be there for me, especially this past like semester or two with me being in college. So since there was this big, pandemic going on, they weren't able to have a lot of high school students be able to help them out like they were in the past. So they've reached back out to me, and I've been helping them while I've been in college to go to these away games, especially ones that are closer to my college in Batesville. I go to Lyon College. So I helped out with 5A baseball this past week, going with Tyler to help record our final few games.
Well, some people say you're not the one wearing the football pads on the football field, and you're not the one shooting the basketball through the hoop, but you are the one producing this broadcast and working, with this team to deliver it out to the community. Do you feel like you were part of a team bigger than just you, even though you weren't on the field scoring the touchdown or scoring the 3?
100%, because prior to working with the Athletic Network, I actually worked with our high school newspaper, Patriot Expressions. I did sideline photography and I did writing for that for a year. And being able to be there, I formed some sort of connection with a few of the players before I ever joined the Athletics Network. But after that, me being able to grow in my general knowledge of the sports and grow in my knowledge of broadcast, I was able to form these deeper relationships with people where I was able to gain them both as like colleagues and peers, but also just as like friends, because I was able to understand things and I was able to just talk and hang out with them and just talk about like their statistics from a football game. Like, oh my gosh, you scored this amazing pick six, and being able to grow in that sense that people realized, oh, she actually does know her stuff, especially being a female in journalism. There's a stigma in a way against it. So being able to gain that respect from other people for something that I'm very passionate about and something that I've worked really hard to get to where I am really is heartwarming. And I'm very thankful to both Tyler and Landon for what they provided me.
Well, I don't think it's short to say, even early on in your professional career and getting towards that point, you already have a lot of success here, working with ESPN and double majoring and working your way at Lyon College right now. What have you seen your time at the Marion Athletic Network opening doors for you and opportunities? And what are you doing now?
So right now I'm home for the summer. I literally just got back yesterday from moving out. So this past semester, I worked as the managing editor for our newspaper, our printed publication at Lyon. I also worked in our communications group. So I wrote articles. I helped take pictures, especially for baseball and football, whenever we're able to have an extended season. And like you said, I also did some work with ESPN before in November. So overall, just being able to have this background of photography and videography and also just a general knowledge of these sports, I was able to go forth and put forth a skill that a lot of people didn't have and something that was needed in the place that I was at that point in time, because we just lost at Lyon. Both of our main photographers had just left for other opportunities. So being able to come in with that skill set and being open to growing and learning different skills really provided me this step up that a lot of other students didn't have.
I think a great, tying of the bow here is, what was the overall impact? You said multiple times already, and I can see it just from Tyler and Landon, the way they interact with the program, how much they care and how much they really interact with their students. What has been your overall impact from your time and experience with Marion and the Athletic Network?
Yeah, so just being able to be part of that team and knowing that my skill set will be used in the future to help other people. Because something that we talked about was me coming next year, like especially for games that are closer to me back in Batesville, bringing students to those games, letting me help them set up things, giving a little bit of like inside knowledge almost, and just knowing that in the future things are just going to get better and better. Because I actually worked at one of the premium Patriot partners. I worked at Premier Bank of Arkansas for a semester before I ever joined the team. And just knowing that the community, even though I'm not here, still supports this amazing program that's constantly growing and supporting students in return really is a blessing and really is something that I'm really glad to see within my community.
And this is really great to hear, because I think a lot of superintendents, a lot of athletic directors, and a lot of people don't sometimes see the full impact that working with students can do as they branch off into their careers, because there's so many different realms now for, broadcast journalism and streaming in general. And so I really appreciate the time and letting us, get a little insight on your life and what you've done and working with Marion. Landon, I want to hit with you as we're kind of wrapping to a close here, is what would you say to schools that are sitting here watching this or going to see this later on, considering building their sports network? What would you say to them?
You've got the support. When you sign on with Mascot Media, you've got the support to take this as far as you desire. For us personally, we have not reached that level, and I don't think we ever will. Because if we ever rest on our laurels, somebody else is going to come up with something new, and then we'll be we won't be in the driver's seat anymore. I will tell also, when you decide to get on board with Mascot Media at a school district level, you are going to get out of it what you put into it. That means all resources, people, time, and money. If any of those are an issue, try to resolve that as quickly as possible. Think creatively on how to resolve those issues, because in terms of people, the people involved for us this year, I think, especially with color commentators or some other people, it almost doubled. The revenue that we have made from our advertising efforts through the sports network has paid for our initial purchase of equipment, streaming equipment or whatever, about 6 or 7 times over. And then of course, time. It's important, I think, that you find somebody who is able to give the time, or you are able to adjust so that they can have the time. This school district did that for me, to where I could have a period of day to manage this thing, the entirety of this. And then they brought on Tyler, and that made things so much more pleasant. And so once you create the beast, you got to feed the beast. And so that's where we're at right now, is just, how do we keep feeding this? And because we know it's a good thing, Mascot Media has shown us and proven to us, the viewership is there. I email Ranson at Mascot Media every Monday to see what the viewership's like, and it's there. People want this. And so there are some facets that go with that. And if we have time, we'll look at that. But I would just say you're going to get out of it what you are willing to put into it. I would not suggest just going to a closet, finding 2 cameras and expecting those cameras from, the early 2000s to fly. Be intentional, and you will get out of it what you put into it. I promise.
Thanks for that, Landon. And, this is just, I encourage everyone, first of all, after this presentation, to check out Marion's app, check out, MarionPatriots.com. There still are a few more quality broadcasts to tune into for the summertime hits. And so
Yes.
Be sure to check it out. It truly is something to behold. And it is just, it's a high school program, but it looks like, a local college near you. But to wrap this up, we are about to get into questions, and there's been an overwhelming amount of questions. We really appreciate the feedback and interaction on that. On the screen here is a way to contact us, to reach out. If you feel like you're ready to get your sports network going, this is something that you can still get going before fall starts. And so Corey will make sure to post this and that way in the chat for everyone to start getting started, emailing us and trying to schedule a short meeting with that. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Corey for the questions portion of this. Go ahead and stop the share, and thank you everyone so far. Make sure to stay tuned for the demo as well.
Guys, so it looks like we have quite a few questions. Like it's an overwhelming amount of questions. And so I'm really glad that everybody really wants to know more about what you've done with your sports network. And for attendees, please continue to submit any questions you have as we go through these. Let's see. So let's just start off. This question actually came in from a registrant. Do you have any tips for building teams and cooperation from staff to help promote the great things happening at the school district?
Yes, show the value in it. Students are obviously the greatest commodity and asset that a school district has. If you can create a system or a network or whatever it is that you partner with Mascot Media for, and you need help, make sure that they see the value in that. Some of the value that we have attained is obviously not only, we've sent Mary Claire to the ranks of ESPN, but also we have other students who have scholarships as videographers in stadiums. One is a videographer for the football team in Pine Bluff. That's valuable. That's paying for college. That's helping them there. This year we decided, because of COVID and the impacts that were happening, to stream as much soccer as we could. Me and Tyler are from East Arkansas. We don't know a ton about it. But we found a former coach to be color and to guide us and to teach us about it. And after our first broadcast of soccer this year, 2 of our Lady Patriots soccer players received scholarship offers from a new program starting in the state. They're going to college because somebody saw our broadcast. If that's not valuable, I don't know what is in the realm of public education. So I would say, show people who you want to get on board, show them the value in it, show them the potential, and you can do that fairly easily if you just have a good vision for it. And anybody who is in this seminar looking at Mascot Media clearly has a good vision.
Thank you. How do you make sure your brand is represented well across different platforms and other things?
Tyler, that sounds like one for you.
Yeah, I guess the main thing is be in control of the product. We've done a good job of consolidating a lot of different Facebook and Twitter pages that were run by different coaches and things like that. And if a coach left, then the Facebook page or the Twitter page would kind of leave with them. So it became one of those things where you needed to be in control of the brand no matter what it was. We took a lot of the pages. There's still a few of them because a few of the coaches have been here forever. So keep the loyalty with them. They do a good job keeping those pages. But for the most part, we try to consolidate everything. We want to be the ones pushing everything out. Everybody knows to search Marion Patriots Athletic Network on Facebook and Twitter, and they're going to get a centralized place for everything. Over the past week, I've posted rosters and tryout info for softball, tennis, basketball, girls basketball, football, things like that. Like, everything is centralized in one location, and that helps us control the message and the branding for sure. Just make sure that you are the one in control of it.
Yeah, that's really great. Let's see, another question. We have a lot of these, so I'm gonna try to get through all of them. What streaming software do you use?
Livestream Studio. That in the time since we purchased it, and the computer called the HD 550 that goes with it, it has been bought out by a company called Vimeo. So I'm not entirely up to date on what purchasing that streaming software looks like. or I think it may be at a subscription model now or something, but it is a tremendous asset to us. But if it is beyond the realm of possibility or purchase for a school district, there is a piece of software called OBS, which is, I believe, open source broadcasting software that you can download to a Mac or a computer. We actually use that when we have to split this year during the spring sports, because softball and baseball play at the same time in different locations. Usually, we had to split. So I used OBS, and Tyler was familiar with the Livestream Studio software. I cannot recommend Livestream Studio enough. I do hear good things about TriCaster and things like that, but for the sake of being an all-in-one package, it is literally just one computer, screen, inputs on the side. The Livestream HD 550 is what we use with the Livestream Studio software built in. And that was originally by the suggestion of Blair Cartwright at Mascot Media.
Yeah, to what Landon's saying, I'm not sure with the licensing all with it being purchased by Vimeo, what the equivalent would be, but we need to get that out, because this is the real deal. It is super easy. Once you learn like one or two things about it, it clicks. It was one of those things I came into the school year because of having to split with responsibilities with Landon at home games. I was learning on the fly how to direct these games. During the games, I'm learning about it, but once you figure out just one or two things about it, it clicks. And I'm still learning things about it. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's still a couple of features here and there that I figure out, but once I got it, like basics, we were able to get back. Even despite my best efforts to ruin the product at the beginning directing, once you figure it out, I fell in love with that HD 550 system and that live stream software. It's been nothing short of incredible once I got it down.
And whatever you get, do not be afraid to make mistakes with it, because that's how you're going to learn. He mentioned that ESPN broadcast. I put the score on the wrong side of the scoreboard when the dunk happened. And so I'm having to fight a Twitter battle, people saying, well, they're down by 20. No, we were up by 20, So yeah, don't be afraid to make mistakes and learn with the software. Because, when we started this, I would get texts constantly, we can't hear, we can't do this. And then after about a month of that, I learned, create a checklist for all of these things. And Blair helped me with that. And at Mascot Media. So don't be afraid to jump in with the streaming software, because that's how you learn it.
And can I make a note on that? If you have student workers, please know that they're gonna make mistakes. I made my fair share of mistakes, especially when I was first starting out. I would move too quickly. I would accidentally unplug something. Mistakes happen, but it's how you move forward and educate them, and teaching them what to do as you go through with something. Because it's after doing this for 2 years, I still have to learn, and I still have to adapt to different scenarios and different things. So it's really just working as a team rather than singling someone out in the case that something does happen. It's don't put all the blame on your student workers, please.
Now all my shortcomings come out.
No, I'm not trying to say that.
Oh, I know. I'm just messing with you. No, but she's absolutely right. That's where I think that refining skill, and such as we did with the textbook, comes in.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, thank you guys for that. I am not sure if we're going to have time to answer the rest of the questions. We have, like I said, an overwhelming amount of questions. But I will make sure to follow up with all of the attendees with all of the questions. I'll do a little question and answer for you. And so I just want to say thank you again, Landon, Tyler, Mary Claire. We're going to go ahead and go into the demo. You guys have done a great job of promoting your school, helping your students gain valuable skills, and Mascot Media is happy to be a part of that. And I know that the attendees got a lot out of listening to you talk about your experiences. And thank you again to all of our attendees. You had some really great questions. Again, I will make sure to send you all an email with the answers to those. And make sure to check out the links I dropped in the chat below and watch out for the email that I will be sending you. So if nobody has any further questions, I will go into, Lev will go into the short demo where we will go more in depth about the features of our platform. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Corey, and thank you everyone for continuing to stay on. I'll try to make this as quick as possible, but I also just want to highlight a product that Marion's already done such a great job with, but also highlighting the great things that you can do as well with the sports network. And so as we transition to the app on the screen here to make sure everyone can see that, one thing to a testament is the branding and the logo, and that's evident with the Marion Sports Network or any of that in general. And so when I download an athletics app, I immediately hit that central hub for all their information surrounding their athletic program. And again, if you want to schedule a more in-depth demo and take a look with our sales team, we'd be more than happy to talk with you. But having an app and a website platform that can be that one-stop shop while having 6 different styles on the website front to accommodate your branding and your needs on that level as well, having it where on an app presence, the device that your parents and your students and your community have in their hands 24/7, all the latest upcoming events, the latest broadcasts, all within the broadcast channel, but having it where instead of fielding phone calls 24/7, about where the local link, form, things of that nature are, a fan can easily go into their athletics app, open a form, and pull it up just like that directly through the app, all while being able to share it. While typically you'd have to go to some third-party website or having to dive in and figure out exactly where it is on some other platform. But being able to navigate that to the home menu, sending out custom push notifications, seeing the final scores, all while recognizing those sponsors that want to interact with your program, just like the many we saw today throughout the Marion demonstration, there are different levels of sponsors, but having it with a dedicated sponsors page to where you can give them maximum value to click on the website, give them a call, and showcase them as a prominent local sponsor. But with dedicated team pages and being equitable and Title IX compliant, where every single team, you can easily lay out and choose which sport you want to follow with an easy to scroll through method to choose the sport and take a look at the information surrounding their program with forms and links specific to them. With a simple scroll, efficiently getting over to schedules, roster information, news, and a fully fledged out photo gallery, it all creates that central sports network for your program. And just like that, you can go into it and take a look and have a professional website all at the same time. So when you want your style, you can have the Marion style and build towards that, showcasing your different facilities, your different athletes, all while clicking on your broadcast player and parents having that easy to find access point to tune in for that football spring game or your graduations. But if you want to sit there and highlight your facilities, have your sponsors continue to showcase themselves, have an upcoming schedule, a composite schedule, so parents and staff members can sit there and choose the sport they want to follow and import that calendar into their Google Calendar or their iOS calendar. Or perhaps you're like Juan Navarro at Austin ISD and want to highlight your staff directory with full in-depth bios. So when someone moves into your community for the first time, they know exactly who's going to take care of your student athlete. Just a great highlight tool. Or like Alito, a football powerhouse in the Texas area, scrolling through images, upcoming events, but archive video as well, highlighting the different things going out through your program, but also those local news articles and fully in-depth overall records, schedule performance, and way to show interaction with sponsors that want to interact sport by sport. And so giving them the maximum amount of possibilities at a sponsorship level on your new digital platform. And seeing Highland Park on the app presence, you can take a look at them on the website as well. With social media call to actions, news and images right there on the front page, upcoming events, social media feeds, and a fully fledged out photo gallery that was on the app and now on the website. And when I click on a different team's page, like track and field, I enter into a collegiate professional style homepage specific toward girls track and field with their latest news articles and links and forms specific towards them. All the while, I can take a look at their latest schedules, take a look at custom scores so we can go more in depth on in a longer length demo, but roster information, all while highlighting the great facilities throughout your different athletic programs. Or if you're like Mountain Brook and you want to highlight the different actions going out throughout your athletic program, you'll have that app call to action on our different website styles, but a way to customize that top navigation bar to where you can build it and communicate to your parents effectively in the way that you want to, not the way the website makes you. But the upcoming schedules, archive video, photo galleries, all the things that you want in a sports network on a day-to-day basis is all right here. And we're ready to talk with you more in depth. So please reach out to us. We can do a more in-depth demo with our sales team. And we really are looking forward to speaking with you. We really appreciate the time and taking, the chance to hear from us and talk with us. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us. We hope everyone has a great day. Talk to you soon.